That's awesome. It's only 5 minutes. Um,
All
5 minutes. That's perfect. All right. I'm gonna
right, everyone.
step out now. Miss Kimberly,
Okay.
it's all yours. Anybody needs me, text me. I'll be giving out COVID kits.
All right, great. All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Canvas Painting with a Sprinkle of Fun. I believe we have grade 4 on with us today. And then I also have Miss Jessica on with me. She helps out here at the store, and she's going to be typing directions in the chat in case you guys missed anything. And she's also going to be playing a game with you guys, taking some pictures so we can send you guys pictures later. So to start, everybody should have their 2 brushes, their cup of water, paper towel. Everybody's paint should be open and ready to go. Also, your canvas should be held horizontal. So make sure that your canvas is held that way on the table in front of you. And we're going to do this step by step together. So today we're going to be painting the city. And we're going to actually start with the background, which is going to be a lot of blending. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So what's really important while we're doing all of this is that you do not put your brush in the water unless I tell you to. So anybody that has their brush in the water right now, you can take it out, make sure it's dry. We're going to be using the big brush first. All right, and I'm just going to give everyone 1 minute here because I see some classes are opening their paint. Make sure all those paints are open so that we don't have to wait in between. And anytime the class wants to unmute for any reason or questions, you guys can do that, no problem. As soon as I see everybody ready to go, we'll start. Also, if you have long sleeves, make sure you roll up your sleeves. We don't want to get paint all over your clothes. All right, guys, so we are going to use the big brush first. You have 2 brushes. Let's use that big brush first. Make sure it's dry. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the red, and we're going to make 1 line right on top going right across with that brush using the red. Right across the top. And you can see I'm going back and forth. That's going to make sure that your paint is nice and smooth. And that line on top should be about 1 inch. You can see it's not a perfect straight line. That's okay, because we're still going to be painting a lot more. So go right across the top with that red. All right, it's also best, because I see some of you guys are painting and you keep holding it up to show your friends. It's best if you leave your painting flat on the table until we're finished, because if water spills on your canvas, that's it. The paint will not stick to the canvas. So we don't want to spill anything. All right, we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to take more red. Right under that line, we're going to make another one using the red. So now your red line has become double. I'm just waiting a minute. One of the classes is having a hard time opening the paint. So I'm just going to give them a minute. All right, but you should have that one red line going right across the top. So now it should be about 2 inches. Doesn't need to be exact. And we're still going to hold the brush. Do not put the brush in the water, just hold it. All right, now we still have our red on the brush. That's okay, we want to leave it there. That's part of blending. Now we're going to take this brush that has red on it and we're going to dip it in the orange. And we're going to do the same thing now, right across underneath with the orange. And keep going back and forth. And you don't want to do it right under the red. You could do it over the red a little bit so that it'll start to blend together. And same thing, we're going to just hold that brush. Do not clean it. We're going to do the orange again. So again, we're going to take some orange right under that, back and forth. And by this time, a good third of your canvas should be painted. All right, as soon as everybody's ready to move on, if you guys could just hold your brush up so that I can see who's ready, who's not. Looks like a good amount of you are ready to move on. So what you're gonna do now is you're just gonna wipe that orange off onto the paper towel. So just wipe your brush on the paper towel a little bit. It's okay to still have some orange on your brush. And we're gonna dip that right in the yellow. And same thing, go right across. And if you keep going back and forth, you'll start to get a dark orange. You can see the yellow in there, but it's still pretty dark, which is exactly what we want. All right, now we can wipe the brush on the paper towel again. Just wipe off that extra paint. And we're gonna dip in the yellow. Right under that line, same thing. We're gonna add the yellow. Now, by the time you add this yellow on, you should be a little more than halfway down your canvas. If you're not a little more than halfway, take the yellow and add some more. But you definitely want to look at where halfway on your canvas is and go a little past that. And that's what you should have so far. All right, if you are finished with this part, I'm going to ask you guys to put your brush in the water and leave it there for a minute. And we're just going to give everybody a chance to catch up. All right, now before we do the next part, we're going to be adding water. Before we do that, we're going to have to clean the brush. So you want to make sure you put your brush in the water, gently move it around. Do not put your brush in the water and push down and stab the water. You're just going to end up ruining your brush. So gently move the brush around in the water. And then when you take it out, you're going to gently wipe it on the paper towel. Again, we don't want to be too rough with the brush because then you're going to end up spreading the bristles apart and ruining the brush. All right, and we want to make sure we can clean it as best we can because we want to get that yellow off. Once we use the blue for the water, if we still have the other colors on the brush, your water is going to start turning green and we don't want that. So make sure you clean the brush, and it's important that the brush is dry. So dry it on the paper towel. You're not going to get the brush perfectly clean as long as the brush is dry. All right, so everybody's brush should be clean and dry. And we're going to start doing the water. So everything that is now white on our canvas on the bottom, we're going to fill in with blue. So that big brush again, we'll take the blue and we'll start filling this in. Now you guys want to be careful. Try not to hit that yellow, because if you start hitting a yellow and it's still wet, your water is going to start turning green. So take your time going across. And start filling that in with the blue. And same as before, you want to make sure you go back and forth, really spread your paint out. This way it dries fast and it's nice and smooth. And you don't have to worry about how straight your blue line is. You're not going to see the top part of it because we're going to add our buildings later. So don't worry about making it straight, as long as you fill all that white in with the blue. So at this point, your whole canvas should be filled in. You should not see any white. And once your canvas is all filled in, you can put your brush in the water and leave it there. And at this point, we're going to take a break, but I'm just going to give everybody a minute to finish filling everything in. And while we take a break, it's important that you guys do not paint anymore while we're taking this break. You can finish up now, make sure everything's filled in. Once we stop, everybody needs to stop, no more painting, so that the painting can dry. We cannot move on unless the painting is dry. And if you spend your break painting and we're ready to go again, you won't be good to go. Painting will still be wet. So finish up filling that in. And when you are done, you can put your brush in the water so that I know you guys are done. All right, we're going to give everybody another minute because I see everybody, a few people are still painting. All right, you guys could just leave the brush in the water. You don't have to worry about cleaning it right now. We're basically done with the big brush. We're going to be using the small brush from now on, for the most part. All right, so everybody should be all filled in. Brush is in the water. So at this time, you guys should have a piece of paper and something to write with. I'm going to have Jessica come in and play a game with you guys while we're waiting for our painting to dry. All right, everybody should have their paper and something to write with. Are we good to go? Hands up. Good to go? All right, I think you could start showing and explaining. Let me just share this. Okay, you should be able to do it now.
Okay. Okay, so we're gonna play a game of categories. If you can all unmute for this. Yeah, because once we're done, we're gonna call out the answers. I'm gonna explain the game here, okay? This is, you're gonna get a letter in this box here. You're gonna work with this letter throughout the whole game, okay? These are all different categories. You're gonna answer each one of these categories with the word that begins with this letter. So number one is board games. You'll think of a board game that begins with the letter T and you'll write it down. And then you'll go to the next one. But you're gonna be timed. You're gonna have 2 minutes to do it, okay? Is everybody ready?
That starts with the letter T. Trouble.
You're gonna write these answers down. You're gonna have 2 minutes and then we're gonna go over our answers. Everybody-
And put the paper on top of the notebook, Golan. Golan, take the notebook out of your desk. Okay? Push your desk away a little bit, gently, so the water doesn't.
Okay, I'm gonna start the timer. The timer's on 2 minutes. If you don't know if you don't have an answer for one of the categories, just go to the next one.
Think of a board game that begins with the letter T. If you can't think of one, move on to number 2. Think of something that has buttons that begins with the letter T. If you can't, move on to number 3. Types of weather that begin with letter T. Think of a type of weather. And if you can't think of any of them, just keep moving on to the next one. That's all. And make sure you number it, okay? So if you're up to number 4, go ahead and write 4 and write the name of a cartoon character that begins with letter T.
Forty seconds. Okay, 10 seconds. Okay, pencils down. Pencils, pens down. we're gonna go over our answers. Okay, number 1, what did you get for board games? You could just call them out, call out your answers.
Trouble.
Oh, trouble. It's good.
Trouble.
Tic-tac-toe.
Usually they say tic-tac-toe. Nobody thought of tic-tac-toe? Number 2, things that have buttons.
TV.
Anybody get things that have buttons? Anybody get types of weather?
Tornado.
Tornado. Yes. Give yourself a point if you're getting these. Cartoon character, number 4.
Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry.
Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse starts with an M.
Oh, with a T.
It has to be a T. States, number 5.
Tennessee.
Yeah. Texas. Tennessee, Texas. Number 6, candy.
Twizzler.
Twix. Oh, I love Twix. 7, movie titles.
Toy Story.
Anybody get a movie title?
Toy Story.
Nobody?
No, with a T.
Toy Story. I froze for a second. Yes, Toy Story. Number 8, breakfast foods.
Toast. Toast.
Toast. Number 9, things in a thing.
Teacup ride.
Oh, a teacup ride. I never thought of that. Yes. That was a good one.
T. Under the sea with a T.
Under the sea.
Turtle. Treasure chest.
Turtle.
Tortoise.
Number 11, 5-letter word.
T. Teach.
Has to start with a T.
Teach.
Teach.
Trick. Title.
There.
Trick. Title. Toast. Number 12, a boy's name.
Thomas.
Anybody get a boy's name?
Thomas.
Thomas.
Engine.
Tommy.
Tom. Thomas.
You guys did so good. I'm gonna check with Miss Kimberly and see if we can go back to our painting or
I think you should do one more because mine is just a little bit wet, so somebody else must be.
Under the, yeah.
Okay. Okay, this is the next one you're gonna get. I'm gonna put the timer on. Your letter is now F. It's no longer T. New categories. New categories.
New categories, answer these. Video game. Roblox. Pizza toppings, pepperoni.
No, with an F.
Oh,
Write your answers down from 1 to 12.
Things that grow. Flowers.
Hobbies.
Fishing. Some people like to fish.
We're gonna go over our answers in 1 minute.
A girl's name? I didn't take again. Yeah. I took pictures on Class Dojo. Yeah, I have them on Class Dojo. A girl's name? Effie? My name starts with an E, guys, not an F. Francis. With an F. Madifa. Starts with an F. Francis, Fran, Francesca.
Okay, 30 seconds.
Drinks Fanta. Fanta, right? Yeah. You're gonna go quickly, go. You're gonna get closer.
Okay, pencils, pens down. We're gonna go over our answers. Everybody pencils down, pencils down. Okay, number 1, video game starts with the letter F. Did anybody get that?
Fortnite.
Fortnite, of course. Number 2, pizza toppings. Fish, fish. Number 3, things that grow with the letter F.
Flowers.
Flowers, of course. Number 4, hobby. Fishing.
Fishing.
How about a drink? A drink, number 5. Fanta. Fanta. Number 6, things that are hot.
Fire. Flame.
Oh, fire.
Fire.
Oh, fire.
Number 7, sandwiches.
Sandwich.
Fish again.
Frankfurter sandwich.
A Frankfurter sandwich.
Frankfurter sandwich.
I never heard that one. That's a good one.
I don't know.
How about breakfast food? Number 8,
French toast.
French toast. Items in your home.
Fridge.
F.
Fridge.
Furniture. Fridge.
Fridge. How about number 10? Did anybody get animals?
Frogs.
Frogs. Or a fox?
Fox. I heard.
Fox. Yeah, that's what I got. Number 11, 6-letter word.
Flyer is not 6 letters.
Fire? No. That's
Flower.
only
Flower.
flower. Yep. Number 12, a girl's name. Francesca. I got
Fiona.
Francesca. Oh, Fiona.
Yeah.
Fiona, that was a good one.
Burn.
Felicia is another one.
Felicia. Francesca, Felicia, Fiona. Fiona's a new one. I've never heard that one. All right, good job, guys. Good job. By now, your paintings should be very dry.
Yeah,
hope.
they should be good to go now.
Yeah,
Kids, put away your paper
Okay.
and your
stop
notebook.
share.
All right, guys, your painting should be dry and ready to go. So we can start the second half. And in this part, we're going to be starting to do the buildings. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our small brush for this part. So your small brush should be ready to go and nice and dry. And we're going to be using black. So what we're going to do first with the small brush is we're just going to outline our buildings using different shapes. So for the first building, we're going to place the first building right over here, and we're just going to put a rectangle. And what we're going to do is we're going to start halfway in the water. So find your halfway mark in the blue, wherever it is. And I'm going to put a rectangle on here, and then I'm going to show you guys. So I think what we'll do, we're going to put a little guide in here first. So halfway through the water, let's make one black line just going right across the canvas. This way we have some kind of guide. So let's do that first. Let's do that black line halfway in the water and going right across. This way we have a guide of where we're going to start our buildings. And remember, we're using the small brush now. And then once you have that line to guide you, that's when we're going to start making the shapes. And the first shape we're going to make is this rectangle going up, not all the way to the top. You can see I went just about halfway, I think. And that's going to be your first building. And we're not filling it in. We're just going to make shapes for now. So you want to start that rectangle right at that guideline that we made, that black guideline. All right, so everyone should have their guideline and one building. Now, we're going to make another building next to it. So we're going to leave some space in between. For this building, we're going to start two lines. One line is going to be just as tall as the building next to it. And the line next to that is going to be a little bit shorter. And then what we're going to do is we're going to connect those lines. So you're gonna have a slant on top. Now you should have 2 buildings. All right, it looks like everybody's got 2 buildings. Now we're gonna leave another space. And we're gonna put another rectangle, but this one, gonna make a little bit taller. You can see that one is the tallest one so far. But again, I still have room on top. All right, so that's our 3rd building. Now on top of this 3rd building, we're gonna make another shape. Just watch first. What I did is I put another small rectangle right on top. You can see it's smaller. And then we are going to add a smaller square right on top of that. And then right on top of that square, we're gonna make a thin line going right up. And then that's gonna complete your 3rd building. All right, so everybody should have 3 buildings. None of them should be filled in yet. We're still just sketching our buildings. So we're gonna have another space in between. And we're gonna start our next building. Our next building is gonna be the same as the 2nd building, but we're gonna flip it. So what we're gonna do is the first line is gonna be the shorter line. And then the second line will be the taller one. But now you have to be careful because this building here That's the Empire State Building. That's the building that should be the tallest. So we don't want to go past that building. If you do go past it, it's okay. It's not going to ruin your painting. All right, we're going to connect those two buildings, those two lines. Let's connect those like we did the last one. And now we have 4 buildings. All right, now because everybody's buildings are going to be different sizes and different shapes because everybody paints differently. Some of you maybe only have room for 4 buildings, some have room for 5, and some of you may even have room for 6. So if you have room for another building, we're going to put another one in there. Again, we'll leave a little space in between. And this one's just going to be another basic rectangle, but we'll make it a little shorter than the last building. So we'll put another rectangle in there. If you have room, if you don't, it's okay. Everybody paints different, so some buildings may be bigger or smaller than others. So again, some of you may have 4, 5, 6 buildings. It's okay, your painting will not be ruined either way. All right, you guys look like you're ready to move on. I don't want to go too fast. Now the last building we're going to put in, it's going to be the same as the 3rd building, the same as the Empire State Building, only we're not going to put a line on top. And remember, it has to be shorter. So we'll put one more rectangle in there. Again, that's only if you have room for another building. If you don't, it's okay. And we'll put that smaller rectangle on top. And that smaller square, but we're not going to put the antenna. We're not going to put the line. Now at this point, everybody should have most of the painting filled in. If you have room for another building, you can put it in, but I think at this point, everybody should be pretty full. And I'm going to give everybody a minute now just to catch up on the buildings. All right, now for the next part, we have to start connecting our buildings. Now, we're not going to just make one line going right across because we want our buildings to be different sizes. So what we're going to do to connect our buildings is we're going to put some lines in between them. So the first building and the second building, right in the middle of both buildings, we're going to have a line going right across. And then we're going to do the same thing in between the second building and the third building, but this time we're going to go a little higher and put a line across. So you can see what we're doing now is just by adding those lines across, we're doubling our buildings. So now we have one building, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to do that straight across. So in between the next two buildings, another line. And in between the next two buildings, we'll go lower with another line across. And same thing in between the next two, but this one will be a little higher. And if you have space on the end here, like I do, you can see there's a little space in between my building and the end of the canvas. You're going to add another line in there. That one could be lower. Only if you have that space. Some of you may not have that space. So now you can see we turn 6 buildings into 12. If you had 5 buildings, you should have 10. And they're all different sizes. All right, so everyone's buildings should be complete. And what we're going to start doing now is filling in these buildings. And you should do that with the small brush, just because it'll be a lot neater. So you can start small brush using the black, and we're going to start filling in those buildings. And remember, we're filling them in up to that line we made on the bottom. We don't want to go all the way to the bottom of the canvas because we still want to see some water on the bottom. So I'm going to fill in my first building here and then I'll show you. All right, so there's my first building filled in. And you're going to do that right across, fill in all the buildings. And make sure you fill in the ones in between as well. These spots here that we made, these are now buildings. So we're going to fill those in too. All right, keep filling those buildings in, going right across. And once all your buildings are filled in, it should look like this, a nice skyline. I don't expect you guys to paint as fast as me, so take your time. Take your time filling in your buildings. You should not see any space in between the buildings. Everything should be filled in with the black. All right, keep filling in those buildings. When you are done, you can put the brush in the water and leave it there. I'll hold this up here so you guys can see. All right, keep filling in those buildings. We have 2 more steps after this. Actually, when you guys are done with this part, you can just hold your brush. If you put it in the water, it's okay. You can take it out and dry it off, but we're going to use black again. All right, how are we doing with these buildings? Do we need a little more time to fill in? All right, we're going to use black again. What we're going to do now is we're going to just add this little grassy part on the bottom. And we're going to use the small brush again. But we want to make sure we don't add too much. We don't want to cover the blue. We want to be able to see that blue. So what we can do is right on the bottom using the small brush with the black. You're going to start on the bottom and just pull it up a little bit. And you're going to go right across your canvas doing that. Not too much. Again, we don't want to cover the blue. We want to be able to see that blue. And you're just going to make little lines going right across. And as you go across, it's going to start to look like dark grass. You do that right across the bottom of the canvas. All right, so right across the bottom of the canvas, we have those little black lines coming up to look like grass. And then once you finish your grass and your buildings, you can then put your brush in the water. Okay, once you guys are finished with that, we have one more step. All right, so I'm going to show you guys how to do the stars now. So if you're not finished filling in your buildings, it's okay. You guys can go back, but I'm just going to show you guys how to do this part now. All right, so for the stars, you can take the small brush out of the water and just wipe it clean. We're not using the side that has the hairs, that has the bristles on it. We're actually going to use the other side to make white dots. But you got to be careful doing this. If you press down too hard, you're going to go right through your canvas and put a hole in your canvas, and we don't want that. So using that end of the brush, you're going to dip that end in the white. Remember, not the side with the bristles. And you're going to use that just to make small dots on the top of the canvas, and we don't need too many. We don't want it to look like snow. We just want a few stars. And you only want it on top. You don't want to put any in the yellow. You don't want to put any on the buildings. Just towards the top. You can see I didn't put too many. All right, so that was the last step. Your canvas should be complete. What I would like to do now is I'm going to try and get a picture of each class. So what I'll do is when I call your class, if you guys can just hold your canvas up and I'll try and take a picture. This way I can send them all to you guys. So I'm going to start with class 404. If you guys can take your canvas and hold it up. All right, keep holding it up. All right, hold it up, perfect. Excellent, thank you. They look great. All right, let's see. Next class I have here is 509. So 509, if you can hold yours up. And we'll take a picture. Great. Thank you. All right, then I have 508. All right, you guys can hold them up. Oh, they all came out great. All right, next class here is 406. You guys can hold your canvases up. Be careful. All right, great. Then I have 409. Great. Um, 408. Did I do 408? No, 408. You guys can hold it up. Great. 407. Excellent. All right, and then I have 405. All right, 405, hold yours up. All right, and then for my last picture, if all the classes can hold them up, I'm going to get a screenshot of all of them together. So all the classes now can hold their canvases up.
Come on, Miss Daly's class. Come on, Miss Kazi's class. Come on, Miss K's class. Get you turning around so we can see it.
Miss
Miss
Jessica,
Fitzgerald.
you're in this picture. You can smile. I can't take you out. All right, great. Oh, thank you guys so much. They came out so good. Miss Cregan, they did excellent.
Oh, I was going around to the classrooms while you guys were doing it. Super excited and very involved. We loved it.
Good, good. So we're looking forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow we have third grade, I believe.
Yes, yes. So
All right.
all fourth grade classes, you guys could sign off. Miss Kimberly, I'll just give you the one recommendation I heard as I was walking was in the beginning. I'm going to remind the teachers that they have to have paper and pencil out and
Okay.
maybe go a little slower because the kids were getting super excited and
Okay,
not, and that just the beginning part before you started the actual painting.
got it.
Okay, thank you. We'll see you
All
tomorrow.
right, perfect. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Thank you both. It was great. The kids loved it. I walked around. They
Good.
were super excited, really involved.
Good.
We even held off COVID testing. 408 says they loved it in the chat. Oh my God, I missed 77 chats.
You know what it is? A lot of it is the directions we put in just in case.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so I'll email you all the pictures and the recording and everything.
Yeah, no worries. In case anybody was absent, they can, they can give it to their students.
All right.
It all seemed to work out fine. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Awesome. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right,
Bye.
bye.